Kate ultesola uniprote ma frapo. Welcome to this small, or actually not that small anymore, course about the Na'vi language. This is just a small introduction video, because this course kind of has become a monster, bigger than I ever anticipated. Especially now with the remake that I'm doing right now. And also you noticed that, or maybe you noticed that there are actually two courses that look almost identical, just different color. And so I thought it might be worth making a part 0, so just an explanation of how this course works. And the first point we have to talk about is, why are there two courses that are basically the same? The answer is they are not the same. You see that here it says Forest Na'vi Part 0, and that's because there is Forest Na'vi and there is Reef Na'vi. What is the difference? So these are two dialects of the Na'vi language. Forest Na'vi is spoken, for example, by the Omaticaya, but also by other clans. For example, we can hear it in Frontiers of Pandora. So probably the clans in that region also speak Forest Na'vi. It is most common among Na'vi learners, which is, of course, because we already know this dialect since it came in the first movie, so 2009. That is a very long time, which means all the resources that have been created since then are all in Forest Na'vi. And therefore it's much easier to learn Forest Na'vi at this point, also because just more people speak it. And I thought that I will not give a whole overview over the two dialects here. But since there are some difference between them that you can see on first glance, like when you see some writing from both dialects, then you see that there are some differences. I thought I'd point them out. So what you will notice with Forest Na'vi is that there are no D, G, B, Sh and Ch in there in the writing. But it has the Sir and Tsier. It has t, at the beginning of syllables. It does not distinguish u and ö. And it can have the diphthong, so the apostrophe between two different vowels. On the other hand, in most cases, it does not allow for two identical vowels next to each other. So if through grammar reasons suddenly you have two e's next to each other, then they will usually become one. They will merge into one. That I say usually, or in most cases, because there are some exceptions, but don't worry about that for now. And you are currently in the Forest Na'vi course. So you see always when you see that color scheme from the left side, then it means you are in the video from the Forest Na'vi course. Now, what about Reef Na'vi? Reef Na'vi is spoken by the Reef clans, such as the Metkayina clan. That is the clan that we saw in the second movie, which only came out late, so it was introduced in 2022 only. There we now see why Forest Na'vi is most common among Na'vi learners, because Reef Na'vi just hasn't been around for that long, and therefore there have not been many resources about it. All the resources we have currently actually are just, here are the differences between Forest Na'vi and Reef Na'vi. So you actually have to use Forest Na'vi resources to learn Forest Na'vi, and then you have to learn the differences so you can turn your Forest Na'vi into Reef Na'vi. This is of course not very good, which is really the only reason that I'm doing this course 2 times now, because I want to offer a resource with which you can learn Reef Na'vi without having to go to Forest Na'vi first. And then some differences. It's basically the same thing as from the Forest Na'vi side, but just the other way around. It has D, G, B, Sh and Ch. It does not have the Sir and Tsier, because they turn into the Sh and the Ch. It does not have the ejectors, so the at the beginning of syllables, because they turn into the D, G and B. It distinguishes U and Ö, so that Ö sound with the weird mark on top was introduced because of Reef Na'vi. And sometimes unstressed ä changes into e. I say sometimes because we don't have a certain rule for that, but what you will notice that in Reef Na'vi, in written Reef Na'vi, you will see the letter ä, so the R with the weird dots on top, you will see it far less. And it does not have the diphthong between two different vowels. Between two similar vowels, you can leave it out, so there sometimes also disappears. And it allows for two identical vowels next to each other. So why do I tell you all of this again? Because I want that even if you learn Forest Na'vi, I want you to be able to see, oh, this person writes D there. That is not wrong, it is just another dialect. So I want you to be able to know that there are different types of Na'vi, different dialects. So yeah, because very often we see it in the community that someone writes in Reef Na'vi and then suddenly there's someone say, hey, you have a typo there. No, it's not a typo, it's just another dialect. And yeah, if you want to learn Reef Na'vi, as I said, you are right now in the Forest Na'vi course. But there will be a link to the Reef Na'vi course in the video description. It will also be in the end card of this video, so you will definitely find it. And the Reef Na'vi course is just exactly the same course, but turned into Reef Na'vi, so that you don't have to first learn Forest Na'vi and then learn how to change it into Reef Na'vi. You will recognize Reef Na'vi videos by the green color scheme that you see on the right side. Now to the second big point, which is the structure of this course. If you know the old course, then you know that it was just, I think, 21 grammar videos, but these times are over. One problem that I see many learners have is that they just jump from one grammar video or from one grammar topic to the next, and then again and again, and then they learned 5 grammar topics in 1 week. This is not how language learning should work if you are not really good at linguistics and can learn many grammar concepts at once because you're familiar with them already from other languages or from your studies. Usually what you have to do is you have to learn one grammar concept and then you have to practice a lot, and then you have to do a lot of listening practice, and you should also speak a lot, and so on and so forth. Just as an example, I have 10 hours of Chinese class per week in my intensive course at university. Only 2 of these hours are about grammar. The rest is just practice, learning words, learning the differences between words and how to use them, learning some nuances, listening a lot, and so on. And I wanted to reflect this in my course, which is why we now have the following structure. We have different chapters, so we still have the 21 chapters from the original course, which is just every chapter has one grammar video. The grammar video explains one new concept in detail, so I really go into detail with those. You don't have to remember every single thing, but it's just that you can also come back later and look at it again if you want really to know all the details. And then with every grammar video there come 3 listening practice videos, which all have different things they focus on. The first listening video will focus on new vocab. In those I will always introduce you to 20 new words, and then I will read a bunch of example sentences that only use those words and which only use the grammar that you learned so far. So you can use these videos to build up your vocab, to build a vocab deck, and to really learn new words and practice the grammar you learned. Those are fairly easy, so I really only use those 20 words that I introduced there, plus of course the vocab from older vocab videos, and I will only use the grammar that you have learned so far. Then there is a medium listening practice, which is a bit freer, which means I will only use the grammar that you have learned so far, but I will also use some other random words. So what you have to learn there is looking up words on the fly. Because yes, you should learn grammar and you should learn vocab and you should focus on practicing the things you have learned. But when you are actually talking to someone, they don't just use the things you have learned. They will also use tons of other words. So looking up words on the fly actually is a super important skill. And then lastly we have hard listening practice, which is supposed to help you to practice understanding things from context and learning more complex sentences. So in these videos you are not supposed to really understand every single thing I say or others say, because I also have asked a lot of other speakers to help me with those. In those videos you're supposed to focus on what you already know, what you already understand, and then maybe get the overall meaning from context. So what I wanted to achieve here is to show you that you don't need to always understand everything, that it's fine to not understand everything. So in these videos I will of course use what you learned in the videos before, but I will also use things that you haven't heard of yet. So new grammar structures, new words, everything. And yeah, at the end there's also written exercises. This video course comes with a document that first of all always gives you an overview of what you have learned in a chapter, but then also gives you tons of different exercises. These exercises can be everything. This can be written exercises. This can be more listening exercises. These can be tasks like go into voice chat with someone or find someone to learn together with and do this exercise together. So I try to find the right variety of exercise that you can do. And then once you're done there, it goes on and on. So chapter 2 has the same, chapter 3 has the same structure again, and so on. Of course, I know not everyone wants this whole big course structure. It's totally fine to skip things. If you're just here for the grammar, just watch the grammar videos. If you already know the grammar and are just here to catch up on listening, just do the listening exercises. But for those who really want a complete course that covers everything, then this is the structure that I'm following. The only thing you will not find here is pronunciation. So pronunciation you'll have to learn somewhere else, but I put some links in the video description. Lucy Baum Ngarusrak, Niyei Baum. Do you have any questions? Just ask. You can reach me on Discord, where I am in all major NatWi learning communities. You can also write me email, and if you want to support me, then you can do that on Patreon. Now, how to continue? This is the next video in this course for Forest NatWi, how to learn NatWi. I know there is supposed to come a grammar video now, but the first chapter is a bit different from the other chapters. It's more like getting you set up to learn NatWi. So the first grammar video actually is not about grammar, but just explaining to you how you can learn NatWi, giving you tips and hints and giving you tons of resources. But if you are actually not interested in Forest NatWi, if you want to learn Reef NatWi, then you can do that here. So this is the link to the Reef NatWi course, to the entire playlist. I hope this course will be helpful for you. Hai, Jadovai, ma frapo.